Europa's Blood, a novel by James Daniel Shunk. In our last chapter, U-Jin Song and his team got repairs of their ship at the orbital Martian Coast Guard station Spartacus. They have been deployed to Jupiter to the floating ship graveyard called XO-1 to trade the time machine key for the state to lift the Europa blockade. But the Martians and Jupiterians think Remus will backstab them, so they are working hard to secure Europa and are planning to use the time machine key only as bait until Europa can be secured. But en route to XO-1, their ship was attacked by a random patrol and crashed. Chapter 13. Thanatos lost. Captain Appleyard rushed onto the command bridge of the SS lightship from his situation room. He saw his chief officer standing by his chair. "Inkston, what happened to the Martian ship we were following?" "Sir, it was destroyed." Appleyard's voice boomed throughout the bridge. "What?" "A routine patrol attacked it," Inkston said. "I think from the SS Kirov Oblast." "Are you sure?" "Tactical just reported. They can no longer scan for it. It's gone, Skipper." Appleyard felt all his strength drain from his body. "You must be mistaken." "Sorry, sir." "How could the fleet not know?" he said out loud, and then to himself. But that ship had the time machine key. He had kept too much of this mission top secret. He should have let Carpon know what was happening. He had played this one too close to the vest. "Automated stingers don't usually ask questions, sir." "Let the helmsperson know." "We need a course correction," Appleyard said. "We must rendezvous with the scimitar at once." Appleyard turned and walked back into his situation room, trying to decide what to say to the Supreme Leader. What had just happened was the most devastating blow their mission could take. It meant complete and utter failure. The Thanatos had crashed. The cockpit was dark, except for the red glow from the emergency lighting. A steady beep sounded in the background. All systems had failed. The Thanatos had punched through a landing bay door of an old abandoned warship, hit the deck, and skidded to a stop at the far wall. Everyone was slumped, knocked unconscious by the impact of the crash. The life support was offline. The oxygen level in the ship was dangerously low, with the cabin temperature dropping steadily. Ice had quickly covered the inside of the badly cracked cockpit windows, encasing the 4 occupants in a tomb. They sat like this for 10 minutes before the comm came alive. "Can anyone hear us? Are you okay? Come in. Come in." Then the voice trailed off. "No one is answering." At the moment, the damaged vessel was resting on its belly with the landing gear destroyed. Ramp access was impossible. The only other way into the ship was through the portside airlock hatch. Soon after, smoke began to roll up around this round door as sparks rained down. It took about 5 minutes before it was cut away from the ship and fell inward, crashing to the Thanatos' deck. A man in a dirty white spacesuit walked into the dark ship. A glass dome protected his head. He carried a flashlight. The beam shone through the smoke-filled chamber like a laser. A control panel above his head hung open, raining intermittent sparks. A second man appeared, carrying a bioscanner. "The oxygen level is coming up to normal, Roman. Our emergency airlock is holding." Arius Roman made his way into the cockpit. "We have some people up here. I think they're all alive. They were wearing their restraining belts, Doc. It saved them." The man with the bioscanner appeared. "Their vitals are low but steady. We need to get these people to the med unit, ASAP. Roman examined the ship's dark control panel. I want them all isolated, until we know who they are and what they're doing here. Also, Arkin wants this ship gone over with a fine-tooth comb. Atmosphere is back to breathable, the doctor said, still studying his bioscanner. Temp coming up. Roman unhooked the latches on his face shield and pushed it up. His breath hit the cold air with a vaporous cloud. He pushed a button on his wrist communicator, opening a public channel. Yeah, this is the advance team. Bring in the EMTs. Got it, Roman, came the distant response. The doctor turned and exited the cockpit, leaving Roman behind. Two men dressed in all-white medical scrubs arrived with a stretcher a few minutes later. Each cockpit occupant was unhooked, placed on the stretcher, and hauled quickly off the ship. Roman pushed a button on his wrist communicator. We are ready for the security detail. He turned and exited, flipping off the comm. On Callisto at the Bullseye Military Base's intelligence complex, it was Tuesday evening. The PI strategy meeting had been organized at the Royal Command Center's third-floor Typhoon Den. Now seated at the main table were agents of the Royal Forces Peace Initiative. Nyoki, the ape, Jarbhara, the elephant, Yupik, the eagle nicknamed Patch due to his covered blind right eye, and Kogonga. The only ones missing were the Kodiak called Ayak, Nyala, and, finally, their leader, Prince Towak. Weapons and gear bags covered the table. Everyone was quietly cleaning a weapon or reading on a pad. The double metal doors swung open. Towak walked in quickly with Nyala at his side. Everyone looked up as Towak moved to the big screen near the table. Nyala stood nearby. My father has approved all of our final plan revisions. It's 28 hours before the dawn of the Earth's Harvest Fest, and the clock is ticking. Ayak rushed into the room. Bear, Towak said. Sorry, milord, Ayak said. My kinsman has fallen ill. It has taken me away from my duties. We will all pray for their health, Jarbhara said. The big Indian elephant frowned. Thanks, brother. Eyes downcast, Ayak took his seat quietly. Listen, a lot has been happening. Towak went on to review his discussion with Colonel Argbeth. The Harvest Fest is our deadline to exchange the time machine's key for the state's clemency. We do not want them to have a working time machine. We will only go through with this exchange if we cannot secure Europa. We believe a rogue has infiltrated Europa, so we are deploying one team to stop this rogue. If you fail, and only if you fail, will we exchange the key for clemency. We fear that with this failure, giving the key will not give us the pardon that we hope for. It is predicted that an European attack is imminent even with the surrender of the key, or the threat of this pending attack will force our surrender. I guess you realize the gravity. This means that Europa's SecNet must be secured. If not, we are all dead either through war or surrender. In surrender, we will all be back in the ice mining camps. Europa must stay secure. There is nothing else to think about. Ayak looked up with angry eyes. You say Europa has been infiltrated? That is impossible. What proof do you have? Two things, Kogonga said. First, an unusual meteor sighting earlier today. Then a security lapse happened at the Security Corps OC. We found 32 minutes where the access monitoring system was offline. We are still investigating, but considering the circumstances, we are assuming the worst. What is the plan? Jarbhara asked. Well, my dear brothers, it's time to tell you. Towak turned to the large computer monitor. A 3D X-ray computerized recreation of Galileo Station appeared. The bird's-eye image zoomed in, following a path from the reactor through the installation and stopping inside a building on the opposite side of the compound. Earlier today, Kogonga discovered the weakness in Europa's shield defense. My father suggested that I not share this with you, my beasts, until as late a time as possible. It turns out a small covert team could indeed bring down this impenetrable security net. There are access tunnels that lead under all the buildings in the complex. I am now showing you a recreation of the maintenance building. He pointed at the monitor. It has an open access port for these service tunnels. Here. Incredible! Ayak yelled out. Could we be so stupid? Why not our local security or Royal Marines? Jarbhara asked. We are information gatherers. We want peace, not war. Prince Towak waved away the question with his hand. I can't speak beyond that. I can say the king has passed on the information directly to all appropriate authorities. If we fail, others will be deployed. How could Europa's SecNet be disabled? Nioki asked. I have never heard of such things. The silverback put on his magnetic brass knuckles and punched his fist into his palm. The monitor image began to move again. The view passed down a service tunnel into the reactor chamber. Here the image paused. Then again, moving forward, the reactor's shaft was followed to the pumping center. Here the bird's-eye image circled the pump, highlighting with a blinking icon the power generators. By disabling these, Kogonga said, security grid power would be diverted. Even with this discovery, if such a pump attack succeeded, an invasion force could still be landed before the grid system could be restored. Our only hope is to make sure that the security system stays online. This security lapse can be fixed, but it will take longer than we have now. So the pump must be defended. The SecNet must stay operational. Are all the sister moons vulnerable? Ayak asked. Kogonga answered quickly. Only Europa. This is a special case. It is these bloody service tunnels. Honor with us all! Nyala raised her fist over her head. A battle cry went up around the room. Beasts, we will eventually split into two groups, Towak said. A dual-pronged approach. Those going to the pump will be our team forward kill. This will be Nyala, Jarbhara, Nioki, and Ayak. I will be with Aerial Spike, along with Upik and Cog. It's time for deployment. Everyone to the docking bay. My warship awaits. Where is the key exchange, my lord? Ayak asked. The image on the monitor changed. Now it showed a giant floating ship graveyard. Quad 1.632. XO 1, Kogonga said. You have all heard of it. It is a symbol of our freedom. The roar of battle cries was deafening as everyone stood and left the room. Kogonga lingered behind with the prince. My lord, do we have a backup plan? There is no backup plan per se. The giving of the key, I guess. No matter how you play this, we are all dust, unless that Siki net can be secured. We depend on the Martians to bring us the key for this exchange with the state? Yes, Cog. What if they don't make it? In all reality, this key is only postponing the inevitable. Don't you see it? We are better off without that key. If we don't secure the SecNet, then we are all slaves again. But at least the state would not have their working machine. So this key can't save us? No. It is only buying us life-sustaining time. The sect net can't fail. Why, my lord? Kogonga asked. The key means peace? Remus has intended to put us to the sword, Toak said. We cannot give him any key to this time machine, regardless. I have not said this to you or the brothers. I talked to my father about this earlier today. Everyone is disinclined to believe that a time machine can exist. However, Remus is many things, but he is no fool. We can't take this chance. It would mean certain doom to us all if he had a real working time machine. He could go back in time and wipe out our legacy instantly. Likewise, we cannot surrender Europa. Without this moon's water, he did not finish the sentence. We will show no mercy. Remus will be forced to reckon with us after this day. If our blood needs to fill every street, it will. The only peace is in the security grids of all our sister moons. Why didn't you tell this to the others? It's not your place to ask, Cog, and they can only concern themselves with their duty. Knowing the truth of the matter helps them not. I will tell you now, but say nothing of this. I will say nothing, my lord. Anger filled Toak. One of the agents can no longer be trusted, but I cannot say whom I suspect. Kogonga looked over quickly. What? Shame for all. Who could betray us? Toak pushed down his anger. He knew this had to be controlled. He was a leader, not a soldier. The Anaborgs he commanded, he alone put in harm's way. He worried about each as if they were his own flesh. Then he wondered about the afterlife. What would come beyond this glimpse of life? He would pray for the spirits of those he now sent on the mission. He dropped onto his knees next to Kogonga. He covered his face with his hands as tears ran from his eyes. He cried not in fear of his own life, but in that of losing his brothers, the beasts. He prayed to Gyalnam for intercession. Our backup plan to exchange the key violates our Red Paper 13 mandate, Kogonga said, to destroy the time machine. Yes, Toak agreed. It would be our last gasping breath before the sword hits our hearts. Let's hope it does not come to that. The chimpanzee nodded in sad agreement. Toak and Kogonga left the room and headed down the hall. They entered the troop elevator and walked off into the landing bay seconds later. Nyala, Jarbhara, Nyoki, Ayak, and Yupik, the eagle, were lingering near a black-hulled ship. In the center of the docking bay, sitting there was the prince's private warship, the black gunship called the Jupiter Flying Fox. The stealth H-class warship was well-equipped, more significant than the Thanatos, with an aerodynamic design but with sharp corners. The broad single-deck ship had bolt heads lining the armor seams. She had heavy cannons under the forward hull with upper and lower laser turrets. Their mission had two parts. First, drop Nyala and her team on Europa, and then Toak, with Yupik and Kogonga, would head toward XO1 to deal with the time machine key exchange. The only real mission was securing Europa's SEC net. The giving of that key meant the end for the Anaborgs. If the Martians did not deliver the key, his part of the mission would remain a charade. Toak was waving his hand over his head. Brothers, everyone on board. 20 minutes later, the H-class was circling over the bullseye basin and finally pointing her nose at Europa and was gone. The gas giant Jupiter watched without judgment, off on the right.